What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Just want to make sure that the audio, everything works perfectly fine, and then we can get started. It does. Audio, everything is fine. Today we're going to be covering wholesale real estate explained. I'm going to break everything down into little bit pieces, and also we're also going to talk about the market and what's going on with the market. The market has been read today. But we're gonna find out together why the market became red today. It looks like it became red towards the. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna take a look at it, and then we're gonna look at it together and see if there's any kind of lessons we can learn from that together, from a business standpoint. All right. So and yeah, today we're gonna be covering. Let me just make sure that you can hear me clearly, and then we're gonna get the show. Awesome. All right, so everything looks good on this end. It looks like you can. The audio is coming out, but with that being said, I think we should do things the proper way. A quick house cleaning. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, okay, and make sure that you share this with people you know may be interested in learning about how to get started in real estate. That's what I come here to cover. I cover stuff about money, about business, and just livelihood, making the best livelihood for yourself. That's what I try to cover. Without any further ado, let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen as usual. There is a software, it's called PropStream, that I use for everything real estate investing. Wholesale real estate is a form of real estate investing. Okay, so just in case you're here for the first time, you're brand new, what I would definitely encourage is that you download this book, especially this book, Smart Real Estate Wholesaling. Download it and read it 10 to 15 times. Okay, I do have a second book, Real Estate Money Secrets, that you may want to get it as well. You get it for free when you go to realestatemoneysecrets.com. All right. So with that being said, I think I want to go ahead and share my screen and show you what's popping. Uh, let's see, share video file. Just make sure that you're able to see everything that's going on. Share screen. All right. So the 5 steps of real estate is what you're looking at right there. While I start to share my screen, you can just look at that, take some notes, write that down. This is basically the 5 steps that we follow here. The reason why this 5 steps is very important is because you're able to track your progress and celebrate little wins, small wins, big wins. You can, if you don't know how to celebrate small wins, you will struggle. Okay, you will struggle in this business. A couple of things I'm going to cover today. Again, I'm going to cover wholesale real estate explained. I also want to cover the whole thing around wholesale and regulation around the nation. We kind of know that hands are tight when it comes to assignment types of transactions in Oklahoma, in Illinois, potentially I think in Ohio as well. But there's probably more states that will be passing bills to restrict wholesalers. Okay. Now the key word is restrict. Wholesaling will never be illegal. Read my whatever you want to read my. Now I've been saying this forever. I've been saying this for at least 5 years. Okay, because we started this platform, this particular YouTube channel. We started this in 2016. Yeah, so about 6 years, almost 6 years, right? And I've been talking about, is wholesale real estate illegal? You could literally go. Let me see. Let's see how many videos I have on this topic. I'm going to share my screen right now. Share screen. There you go. Boom. Awesome. Okay, so you can see my screen now. Not yet. Right now you should see it, right? All right, good. So I'm gonna go to youtube.com, right? youtube.com, just in case you're wondering what we're up to here. Let me just goodness. So not that part. That's not what I meant to do. Let's get to, there you go. All right, so yeah, please go ahead and subscribe if you're brand new here. I try to cover, you know, if you don't know my story, there's a free course on this same platform. You go to realestatemoneysecrets.com. Oh Lord, what is this? youtube.com. All right. Okay, so if I search for my name here, you could see that well, we're a little over 3,000 subscribers. Could we do better? Absolutely, you know, but that's besides the point. All right. We have over 1,200 videos up here, training videos, right? So in front of them, if I put his wholesaling illegal, real estate illegal, okay, this one right there. All right, so I got this video here about 1 year ago. I got another video here about 2 years ago. Let's see, is there any other video? I'm sure there are other videos up there, right? Is wholesaling worth it? It's probably addressing the same thing. Do I need a license to wholesale real estate 1 year ago? It's probably similar, you know. All of this video, even when Chicago, Illinois released their own news, I covered that, you know. So it's a big video with respect to this channel. All right, so this is another one right here. Will wholesaling real estate become illegal? So it's a what's the point that I'm making here? It's an age-old question, right? And I've been answering that forever. Yeah, let me just do something really quickly. Okay. Yeah, so it's an age-old question that we've been getting forever, and I don't think it will ever end for obvious reasons. Okay, so now you should know that wholesale real estate is a little outside of the box. It's not conventional form of getting into real estate. It's never been. But now it's becoming that, and that's what happens when you see that something is getting very popular. The upside of it is that anyone can get started in real estate without being licensed, right? The downside of it, one second here. The downside of that is that there's going to be regulations, because there will be people that will come into the game and try to, you know, and abuse things. You know, they take advantage of homeowners. You know, they lock properties under contract with no real intention of putting all the work behind it and making sure that the deal closes. You have people that do malpractices in any business, okay? So think of it like this. I'm willing to bet, I haven't read the history, when, you know, in terms of representing people's legal interest, right? Well, I can tell you as much as Africa, because my heritage is Africa. Raised in Africa, right? Yeah, not born in Africa. That's why I'm saying it that way. Sorry. But the point I'm making there is that growing up in Africa, growing up in Nigeria, I still witnessed people taking their cases to a royal king's palace. Okay, they do have court systems, right? They have British system, kind of court system mixed with American system. You know, they have a hybrid, all right? So they have that, you know, but they also have. Let me just send this really quickly. They also, let's see, use this link. I just had to send this link to somebody asking for to join us live. Sorry about that. Right. They growing up, like literally less than 30 years ago or so, I still saw people use like local traditional Royal King's Palace as a place where they go to present their case, and then the king will basically be the one to judge who is right and who is wrong, right? I'm willing to bet that once upon a time, attorneys did not have to be licensed, right? When it wasn't a popular thing, when everybody kind of like did it, anyone can represent anyone. But eventually, as we get into more civilization and stuff like that, as we get into more civilization, um, people started representing other people's legal interests, right? And what will happen typically is that somebody will abuse that system while some people are trying to uphold it. And what would happen is that they will create some kind of trade association to create code of ethics and be able to hold people accountable, where people can say, okay, this group of people do this type of business and they have some kind of standard and code of ethics to abide by. The same thing's going on with wholesaling. Okay, wholesaling is the heart and the science of finding deeply discounted properties for cash buyers and investors. Okay, that's it. You just find deep discounted properties for that. How do you get paid? You get paid in multiple different ways. Traditionally, they will pay you like a burder. Write you a check and say, "Hey, thank you for finding deals for me, for finding me a deal, $2,000, $5,000." Eventually, uh, they were you could now do it legally, or quote unquote legally, at least up to recent years, right? You can now everyone can just say, "Hey, I'm gonna, create a spot for you in the closing statement. You're making money because you found a deal for me and you assigned the right to buy the property to me. So you created the right to actually purchase a property at a deep discount. Property is worth $100,000. You found it for $40,000. That's beautiful. That's money being printed, right? So you found it and then you lock it up under contract, $40,000. You, seller, you have an obligation to sell me this property within the next 30 days at $40,000. Seller says, say less. They signed. Why? Because the property is worth nothing to them in particular. The property, excuse me. Let me just change the screen part. Okay. The property, let me see something really quickly. There you go. Yeah. So the property needs work. It's vacant. It's foreclosures. Things like that, right? So uh, then the next thing, people started finding out that, oh wait, somebody sold that property, that right to purchase the property, they sold it for $60,000. Oh no, they sold it for $20,000. So the investor comes in, pay $40,000 for the property. They pay you $20,000 for finding the property. Why? That doesn't make any sense. They could have just found the property themselves. Exactly. It's value for value. Is they don't have the luxury to find the property themselves. It's about what is the property worth to them after the fact, after they've paid you $20,000 just for finding the property. That's what it's about. And that's what business is about in general. It's not about, oh yeah, I could have found it. Like, that's not how life works in general. And I see people do that. Even sellers do that. Greedy people, greedy sellers, buyers do that and say, oh yeah, I don't need you. Well, if you didn't need me, the results should show that. Like, it should be easy. But if I can help you put food on the table for your family and you can make $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, right? And the cost to you is $30,000. You don't have to pay me. If there are other ways for you to find $200,000 a year without paying me. But if you have $30,000 laying around and you can exchange that for $200,000 per year and it's a profitable situation for you, why won't you do that? Right? Why won't you do that? Okay. So yeah, it's I wanted to make sure that you understand how that works. The game is very, very simple. It's actually a very, very simple game. You come into the game, you find deals for investors. Investors are always looking for deals, but they're also busy working on the deals that they already have. All right. if they are an investor that can actually afford to pay for those deals, usually they are busy. That's how they keep money coming in, right? But you probably have the luxury of more time than you have money, and that means you can add value into the marketplace. Is that making sense? All right, so that's what wholesale real estate is, and like I said, these are the steps right here, and I cover this a lot because this is the core of everything you need to understand about the game. Is stage one or step one, as you call it. It's not step really; it's really stage. It's data, right? And that's where Empire Big Data comes in. You need access to data. What do I mean by data? Data is basically units of information, okay, like micro level of information. If what information? Property addresses. We're looking for potentially distressed homeowners, right? People that they are facing divorce, they can't afford the property, they inherited the property, they can't afford to hold on to it, they're facing foreclosure because they can't afford the mortgage payment on the property, right? Tax delinquency because the house is sitting down vacant, collecting dust and taxes, but they really can't afford to hold on to it. You come in and you say, you know what, this property, I see properties around the neighborhood, 1 mile radius, 6 months, sales showing that this property is worth $100,000. Um, all right, but it needs work. It needs about $10,000 worth of work. Can you fix it and list it on the market? No, I don't have $10,000. I don't want to deal with this property. I'm like 5 states over on the other side of the country, on the other coast. I'd rather just get rid of it. There are tons of situations like that. How do I know? Let me show you. Um, so if today, let's go to Wisconsin, right? Let's go to Wisconsin. What is a major city in Wisconsin? What is a major city in Wisconsin? Uh, Wisconsin. I'm gonna find one in a second. All right. Milwaukee. Let's go to Milwaukee. All right. So that looks like it's probably one of the major cities in Milwaukee. There you go, in Wisconsin. Oh, did you know that there's? I always have fun with this. That in Oregon, there's another Milwaukee with an I, not two E's, in Oregon, right? That's always fun. And now, obviously, not obviously, but there is also Milwaukee County in Wisconsin. Now, real estate data are recorded usually at the county government level, not at the state, not at the city. Then it also depends on what part of the data we're talking about, particularly for what we're talking about, which is making money in real estate. You're looking for county records, okay? But you can access all of that from this one simple software, which you can absolutely try it out for free. All right, Milwaukee. So let's see what's going on in Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, we do see that there are 484 properties in pre-foreclosure. Well, I'm not sure what they mean by that. Is this coincidence? Because exactly 484 properties are on the market on the MLS, right? Well, what is this? The lake? I think this is the lake. Let's take a look. This is the lake, right? In Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's the Lake Michigan, right? I knew that wasn't the ocean, but that's the lake, right? It's right next to Milwaukee and not right next to Detroit, also on the other side in Michigan, right? So this is Midwest. I think this is considered Midwest. So we do see that there are 484 properties on the market, right? And then there are 484 properties in pre-foreclosure. Now, for my criteria, if you don't know what my criteria is, that means you haven't watched enough videos with me, but I do have a criteria of properties I can go after, okay? And there's 81 properties that fit that criteria for me right now. So if I click into it right now, again, we're talking about data. That's what we're talking about. So let me make sure I stay on topic. So stage one is data. I have access to data. And that's the point of what I'm saying. You need access to data. Now, some people will say you could just drive to the county government house of your local market. Sure, you can, but I wouldn't advise it. Okay? Why? Because you're an entrepreneur and you understand the value of time versus money. Time is much more valuable than money. Never mind what you've ever heard. Yeah, don't ever subscribe to the idea that time is money. It's not. Time is bigger than money because you can get money back, you cannot get time back. Okay, so if your idea of running a business is to go to the county, right, and be scrambling around in the shelves of records for one property per 30 minutes, when I literally just accessed 231,000 property records in literally less than 2 minutes. Do you think you can beat me in the marketplace? It's difficult, right? You're competing always. Either you realize it. It's a game. Either you realize it or not, right? So please don't listen to such people. Such people, they're just gurus, and they're looking for ways for you to stick around. Here over here, I'll tell you the truth. The truth is a little harsh in the beginning, but it pays off long term. And so that's why the quality of people here, we're like the top 1% of people you will find in this game in terms of learning how it works from a leverage standpoint. So when we're talking about leverage, how are you going to beat time? How are you going to beat time at its own game? You need more time on your side, and by learning how to play that game, you attract more money as opposed to chasing after hogging or hodling your money, right? You need to learn how to trade money for time, because we don't care about money ultimately as human beings. We care about what money can get for us. Okay, and that's usually time with our family, time to do the things we love to do, time and freedom to travel the world like we want to, time and freedom to wake up when you feel like it, right? And time and freedom to basically control your own life, especially from a financial standpoint. So you want to make money the slave and not the other way around. All right, so let's go into, so now that stage I have access to data. That's stage one right there, or step one, if you will, right? Step two is contact, right? Now we need to initiate contact with certain types of, right? But let's go back to stage one really quickly. You need to be able to manipulate data. You need to be able to sort through data very quickly, very fast. You need to be able to analyze data very quickly and very fast. Okay. So speaking of analyzing data very quickly and very fast, let me go ahead and turn on the ticker. It's a little sloppy today. You can see that, you know, the live stream is a little sloppy, but we're here, and that's all that matters. As long as you're showing up, right? All right, good. So this is the data right here. This is all the data we have. So I've saved a special, I've saved filters. Okay, there's a saved search. Search filters allows you to be able to sort through the data very quickly, right? So you can see there's filter here. There's also filter here, but we're talking about this filter. Okay, you're able to sort through hundreds of thousands of data of properties with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces of criteria. Okay, all right. Now under each one of this, there are multiple sub criteria that you can set, like ownership info, how long they've owned it, what kind of ownership type, and stuff like that. Once you set what you like here, then you can save it. You do it, you click close, and you can save that search. So I've saved mine, and mine is this 11 points version 3 because it's changed versions over time. All right, meaning, I found out something, with the software. I found a little tricky things here and there, and then I applied, and then just like a software, get updates every other week, right? All right, good. So let's see here. Oh, by the way, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Okay, thank you so much if you're watching me and I've said anything that made sense. That's one way you can support me. The other way you can support me is signing up for the trial of the software. Try it out, actually take action, right? That's another way you can support me, right? All right, so let's go here. Well, let me say this last way you can support me is to become a success story. That also goes back to taking action. You become a success story. You close your first deal. You made $10,000. That is a big deal for us. Okay. Uh, all right. So here we go. When I click the 11 point version 3, 11.v3 filter over here, the pre-saved search filters, it narrowed all of my criteria down to 81 properties out of 100,000. So you're not looking to see, one of the beauty about wholesale real estate is that you're able to see this data and you're not looking to talk to everyone, their moms and their pops. That's why when people say drive for dollars, which means you drive around and write down property addresses that looks like it's a rundown property, and then go chase after the owner of the property. That's when people say that, I just laugh, because for the most part you're gonna get frustrated out of that business, out of the business. Yeah, it's excruciating, right? It's not sustainable, right? But you can do this. You can play with your laptop all day long like this, find 81 pieces of property and send out outreach to them, which is the stage 2 contact, right? So when I click on this preset, basically it preloads all of my different criteria. My criteria is residential. I need to be single family, multi-family, up to 4 family only. I don't market to commercial properties. I would do commercial property deals, but I would not market to them. Why? Because there's a extremely high chance it's not going to become a deal, right? Um, why? Again, that's a different topic for another day. But again, remember, deal is on the far extreme end. We don't get to close deals until we've taken care of stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 successfully. That's what I mean by you're able to celebrate little wins. Be that way you're able to track your progress all the way to deals. A lot of people are focused on deals, and they never get there. And this is why, because they don't have little milestones where they can celebrate little success. If you can pull data the way I just pulled it, you can literally celebrate that because you're that much close. 1 out of 5 steps close to a deal. Okay. All right, good. So let's go here. All right, so we have this criteria set up already, and then I also don't like to deal with condos and community living, like apartment type of community living. Uh, gated neighborhoods are fine, but if there's homeowners association type of deal, I don't market to them. If it falls on my lap, I will do such deals. I've done many deals like that. I just fell on my lap because I'm actively in the business. So a lot of time when you're actively in the business, some of the deals that you're going to attract are not things you would typically market to. But because people know you for the person that's in the game, they tend to come to you with everything, including opportunities, right? So that's why I said you don't want to be tracking your success. You don't want to be tracking your success using like how many deals are closed. That's not what you want to do. You want to track your success. How many data did I pull this week? Like with this software, you have access to 10,000 pieces of data. Well, you have access to all the data, but you can download 10,000 pieces every single month. All right. So, but I don't need all 10,000. I don't need all 10,000. I need just this 81 that fits my criteria, because with driving for dollars, I was saying you're gonna knock on every door, not knowing if they even fall into this category of potentially becoming a deal ever. You're wasting time, your most valuable asset. Real estate is not the most valuable asset. Your personal time is the most valuable asset. Okay, so could you get lucky and close the deal from driving for dollars? Yes, but that's keyword is luck. And it's a terrible strategy for business, right? So anyway, let's keep going here. So on market, I don't want it to be listed on the market, right? I don't want it to be listed with an agent, already listed with an agent for sale. Why? Because it complicates things. I like working with agents in a different capacity. I like when they work for me, when they list my properties that are ready to be sold. I like when they go find me a cash buyer on their database, which I'll show you that in a second here now, right? I like when I pay them a full commission, 5%, right? I hate when I have to beg them, because then they feel like, you know, then that's when they start to question if something is legal or not legal. I don't have a problem with people questioning if something is legal or illegal, because I do only legal stuff. I have a problem with people wasting my time. A lot of realtors are ignorant, so I rather not waste my time in that sense. So when I'm marketing, I don't market to houses that's already listed on the market. This is about marketing, right? Right. This is literally about marketing. Let me show you. Let's go back to the stages really quickly. We pull data. We initiate contact. What is that? Marketing. Okay. It's the same thing that we initiate contact either directly or indirectly. Sometimes we do it in an attractive marketing method, which is what I prefer, right? Sometimes we do it in a more proactive method, meaning like hard cold calling and stuff like that. That's also fine as long as you systemize it and you bring it down to numbers game, right? That doesn't eat up your personal time. That's the place where I start to have problem when people don't realize how much their personal time is worth, right? All right. So stage one to essentially three, or step one to three, if you will, is marketing. You get paid for marketing to homeowners who are potentially in distress. Okay. All right. So let's go back and start looking at this again. So the criteria, I don't want it to be on the market. That's what you see here. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. Fifth criteria is I want it to be notice of default, meaning they're already late on their mortgage in recent times, right? So they're late on their mortgage. That's this criteria under here. You see where it says notice of default? Now, I can also narrow down the recording date of the notice of default. I can do that. But if they had notice of default 3 years ago, there's certain point I don't worry about it. If I'm going into Milwaukee this week and I'm looking for 100 pieces of properties I can send out a postcard to, I can initiate a text messages with, and I can make a potential phone call out to. And I keep it simple, consistent, weekly like that, 100 properties until I close my first deal. After I close my first deal, then I will look for systems to scale up. One of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of people make is they try to scale up front. They try to run this business like the gurus from the beginning. And it's a terrible mistake because majority of people, they just end up either, they don't close deals, but they end up making this business worse for all of us. Like I said, you have the new regulations coming up because people are engaging the business not knowing what they're doing. All right, it's a lot of amateurs. All right, good. So owner type, under ownership type, ownership info, I like it to say individual. See that here, right? This is something I already saved there, right? So once you save it there, you wouldn't have to go through what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing this because I'm teaching, right? Once I hit that button, I have my 81 pieces of property. So let me fly through this really quickly. Individuals, ownership type, as opposed to corporate or mixed use, or any of those kind of things, right? It could be mixed, meaning a person owns it as well as a LLC corporation. I just rather deal with individuals in terms of my marketing. Some of these people will call me and say, you know what, the property you called about, right? The property you called about. Let me answer this question really quickly. Um, you want the money or what? Let's collab. What is your email? So my email is my empirepro@gmail.com, but that's not how to collab. This is how to collab with me if you're interested in collabing. You need to have deals ready to go because I'm a busy guy, as you can imagine. So only deals. When I say deals, right, this is what I mean. You've done stage one, stage two, stage three, and you have a contract that you already have under contract. If you don't already have it under contract, then that means you're learning the game, and I can't collaborate with you yet. Okay. But again, all this material is here for free. So learn how to do the game, get a contract, and then you can submit your deal to my empirepro.com/submit anytime, and we can make money together. So yes, absolutely, I am open to collaborations where we can both serve each other and bring value to each other. All right, so let's go back here. So as active bankruptcy, no, I don't want it to have. I don't want the property to has active bankruptcy. I'm suppressing it. Okay. So if I go down here, lane has active bankruptcy. I'm suppressing it. It's a quick suppress status as opposed to targeting it. Right. All right. So then estimated value. I like to deal with properties between 100,000 and 500,000 only. Why? Because if it's too low, there's not space for me to make $10,000, $20,000, which is the kind of average I'm looking to stay within. My average is somewhere around $10,000 to $30,000 per deal. So if we're dealing with $50,000 pieces of property, it's kind of hard to make $10,000 from that, right? There's no space in the equity. If it's too high, there's a certain level of sophistications that comes into the game in high-end neighborhoods. It's less potential people I can help. But if it falls on my lap, I will do deals like that all day long. There are people that close deals that make $200,000 from one piece of deal because it's a $1.7 million home, right? It's absolutely possible. But in terms of marketing, I like to deal with volume. I like to see, it's a numbers game for me. Okay, so that's that. There's 81 pieces of property right here. If I click this, I can literally go and add this list, and I'll create a new list, and I'll say Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee, WI 11 points, right? 81 properties. Now, if this property was, I'll show you something. I'm going to save that really quickly. If this property was, how do I say this? Okay, let's do this really quickly. If this property was 181 instead of 81 pieces of property, right? Yeah, if it was, right, I would need to narrow down to 100 based on my budget. Let's say my budget's like, my budget is bigger now, but if you're getting started, just keep it at 100 and be consistent. See, your consistency and your ability to manage your resources are key. Okay, your consistency, your ability to manage your resources are key in this business. Resources starting with time. Time is resource. You actually use the resource, right? But particularly what you're investing, since you're the business owner, is your time, right? So being able to manage that is key in all of this, right? So if I had if I'm getting started for the first time, so I'm speaking to someone getting started, then I will keep it at 100 and be consistent for the next minimum 6 months. Watch my last live session where I covered the exponential curve and why in your first 6 months it may feel like hell, but I show you another curve of all of where all your resources, your investment in resources, especially time, is going into, and all you have to do is be consistent. So management of resources and your consistency is really key in all of this, right? So if I had 181 on this list and not 81, I would need to, if my budget safely based off my day job and how much money I have to spend on this, if that was the case, I would want to, I would want to narrow that down to my budget, which is like, let's say like 100 properties per week, right? So in that case, I can go under my filter over here, and I can apply two additional criteria. I can say, hey, I can test it and see, because in some cities this wouldn't apply, right? Owner occupied, meaning the owner doesn't live on the property, right? I'll say no. Once I said no, let's see what happened to the list. The list just reduced down to 15. If this was 181, this could have dropped down to 113, right? Depending on what city we're talking about, right? But this, why would I want to deal with properties that the owner doesn't live on the property? Because again, when you live on the property, it's a home. When you don't live in the property, it's just a house. All right, and that's additional ways. Let me just make sure that we block any trolls in the chat. Yeah. All right. Thank you again. You want the money or what? Thank you. All right. So as I was saying, so now I can narrow it down with that criteria. If it's a property that they don't live in, right? It's just a house. They are more open to selling that house to me at a deep discount. Remember, we're looking for deeply discounted properties. If they live in the home, they're a little bit more emotionally attached to it. It's a home, right? So they will try other they rightfully so. They will try other solutions before they give away the house, quote unquote, give away the house, right? They may go to family members, borrow money, damn near die before they give away equity in the property, right? But again, I've closed so many deals with people living in the property themselves. So I'm just saying, when it comes down to managing your resources, this is a good criteria that you can set. If I set and let's say the list is still too big for me, right? I can. This is again data. We're still talking about stage one, manipulating the data, analyzing the data, and I can go and say vacant, only vacant properties, and that reduces the property down to this piece of property. So it looks like we found a property of a day here, right? Right. So let's look at the property of the day. This property right here. So this property is off market. It's not listed on the market right now. It's in pre-foreclosure. Let's look at the pre-foreclosure details under here. This was recorded 2020, so it's been a while. Yeah, so it's been a while. Potentially, they may have paid up to date, which is beautiful, right? But they're still struggling to hold on to the property. What we know from the data is that they've been in a space where they really couldn't afford this property in the first place, right? We know that they owe only $31,000 against a $100,000 property, right? So they may be willing to just accept $10,000 and move on, and then I can charge $10,000 to an investor. The investor will pay $30,000 to them, give them $10,000, give me $10,000. They've paid $50,000. The work of the property may need very minimal cosmetic work that will cost them less than $10,000. They turn around, list the house on the market with a realtor, and for $100,000, and they just made $40,000. Does that make sense? All right. So now, would I drop everything and chase after this one property? No, because this one property is already on my list. I will go after all 81, right? And instead of putting all my energy like people that drive for dollars do into one property, I'm still going after all 81. It's very likely that the deal you're going to close is not going to be this house. It may be another house that you've prejudged. So no, never go after one piece of anything. Never put any one piece of anything, including yourself, as an entity on a pedestal, because you have limitations, and your ability to be consistent and managing your resources is what makes you a winner in business in general. All right. So this is the property of the day right here. This is a property that. So if I go here, go under comparables, right? Just out of curiosity, see what properties are selling for within 1 mile radius, and then I'll sort based on prices. All right. This is based on 1 year of data. It's saying a property is sold for $11 million. That's probably a typo. All right. Maybe it is not. Okay, because maybe it's 1.2, not 11 million. Probably not. Okay. But let's look at this property type. We want it to be residential only, right? We want this also to be at most multifamily. All right, so I'm gonna sort again. So again, this is what happened. Again, a lot of people are trying to jump through all of the stages, and then they say, "Oh, I haven't closed the deal." You haven't closed the deal because you haven't even figured out how to pull and analyze data. Okay. The more if you do stage one successfully, stage two become exponentially easier. If you try to figure out stage two before you figure out stage one, your life become exponentially more difficult. You increase the chances you will never close a single deal exponentially. Are we making sense? Yeah. All right. So, and the same thing applies for every stage as you go through this process. It's actually it gets simpler. It just gets easier. So that's why you see me taking some time on the stage one data / contact, right? That's why you see me taking some time there. All right. So let's go here. Okay. So, I'm seeing within 1 mile radius, property is selling for as much as up to 970. Now let's look at what people are paying for properties that these are sold properties, by the way. Um, there's another thing here. Okay, so I can go here under this filter. This filter is such a beautiful filter. You can see what cash buyers are paying for. So instead of you using this, there's a tool called dealestimator.com, which is a good tool to have in your arsenal. Dealestimator.com is on my website. Okay, dealestimator.com will allow you. You can also learn how we're able to come up with offers and things like that, right? Um, when you click maximum allowable offer, right, you can start a new calculation from there, and you can see that I use 65% rule. That meaning I can only pay up to 65% of what the property is worth after repair, and not only that, I have to determine how much repair is needed. Minimum is small rehab. So I'm not buying a property that doesn't need any work. You can claim as a seller it doesn't need any work. I'm still going to assume it needs at least small rehab, about 5% of ARV, just an estimate for my own sanity when I'm putting in offers. So let's say, for example, let's not here. All right. Let me just see here. 1 second. Okay. All right. So let me make sure you can see my screen. Okay. So there's this filter right here that says cash buyer. This filter right here. You set this to cash buyer. Okay. There are two things I'm trying to show you here. Based off of cash buyer, you can see that average of cash buyers, people are paying $100,000 for properties in this area. This is so interesting. What I'm about to show you is so interesting. Cash buyers within the last 1 year, within 1 mile radius of our subject property of the day, paid $100,000. You can see that, right? It's basically averaging, but you can see if you sort this data, sort the column by clicking on the column header. But people paid as low as $46,000, right? And you can see this property is 1 mile radius. Let's sort by distance from the subject property by clicking on the column header here. So these are the closest property to the property, right? And there's one on North 35. What's the address of this property? Exactly, North 35th Street, right? And you can see this property was bought by a cash buyer at $63,000, $72,000. So if you're able to find this property and you find it at $40,000, you're able to potentially make $20,000. If you find it at $50,000, you can make $10,000. If you find it at $30,000, you can make $30,000. This is a quick way to skip everything that you see on this calculator, right? The other way is, hopefully this is making sense. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment area later. The other way, let me show you really quickly. Let me take out this filter, this cash buyer filter, right? New construction, the other ones here. Okay, I'm just going to take this out, right? And sort from high. This is all of the sales in the area, right? Within the last. By the way, I like using 6 months ideally because there's too much data here right now. Let me just go ahead and go to 6 months only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so 6 months only. Sort. Especially in a market that's unpredictable with the low inventory and stuff like that. I want to see what's going on in short term. All right, so you can see that $1 million property is not on this list anymore. And you can see that there's a property here for 970. Somebody sold. That's probably an outlier, right? How far is this property from this? It's 0.7 mile. It's literally around the corner. Another thing that I like to look at, especially if you're doing virtual wholesaling, is the subdivision area. So there's no subdivision listed with our subject property, which is 6042. But we also know that around the corner is, if we sort based off of distance, the nearest property is in subdivision Arthur wins, right? And it's 6,000 and something, almost close to the same number. Okay, data analysis. Okay, that's all we're doing. Okay, this is what you're able to do right from your laptop without driving around for dollars and save you tons of headache. Okay, now I wouldn't do analysis on this on a property like this, by the way, until I'm actually in stage three, right? Meaning somebody said, yes, I'm open to selling, and you're analyzing the property to see how much you should offer on the property. That's the stage where you will be making an offer on the property. But again, it's all part of data. That's why I said if you figure out data, a lot of things become a lot more easier. All right. So let's go here. So I can see that the subdivision is Arthur Wens, right? So I can sort based on subdivision and go to all the property in Arthur Wens. This is the 6,000, and see what they sold for. Just to trying to have an idea. This property sold for 190, sold for 150 in the same subdivision. Because you know when they say on the other side of the track in a city, when you're working as a virtual wholesaler, if you don't live in that city or around that state at all, these are the things you want to look out for. A little detail like this will tell you a lot when you're analyzing the property. So I can tell that house properties within the same subdivision of this property. Let's see here. Where is it? Where did they go? Okay, I think it's this. Where did they go? I gotta, let's sort it back. Okay, right here. This one and this one. When I selected them, I'm showing 170. I can use that 170 as the after repair value based on the size of the property. There is a good chance that the $1 million houses, like the $750,000, they've developed, they've had it level, which is a good thing because that means there are ways to add value to a property in that neighborhood, meaning your investor can potentially make even more money. Okay, and if they're able to make more money, they pay you more. Okay, and they will never forget you, by the way. So, all right. So if I go here and I use this, I put that number here, 170. And I say small rehab, that's about 8,500. I'm able to pay up to 102 for this property. But I know that in that area, properties are sold to cash buyers for 60. So I'm just saying, cash buyers may be hungry enough to pay you up to 102 in that area. Okay, and cash buyers are usually able to pay up to 70%. So if you put that there, that's like 110. Again, I wouldn't even worry too much about this, but these are different nuances that comes into making an offer on a property, because it's your ability to be able to make offers that can absolutely be closed. That's what makes the difference. All right, so let's go here really quickly. Fantastic. All right, so if I go here and I sort this based on, I already selected these two properties. At least I need 3 properties, right? When I'm doing a comp on a property. So this comp right here, I'm gonna assume it's just comps for if they're not going to add a level to the property, if they're not going to add square footage to the property. Just the small property assets. I can see the picture right there already, right? I'm gonna sort by distance again. I already selected these 2. You can see the closest to it is already on that list. If I select this other one, it says it's in Garfield Heights. But at this stage, you can break rules of not the same subdivision. It's within 1 mile radius. Again, these are things that the bank will look at. You don't want to overthink this. When I added that to it, it's telling me that this property actually completely took the numbers to 303,000. So there's a property literally around, like next door to this property that sold for how much? Let's take a look. Sold for 570. So I clicked on it. I'm going to click details. I want to see what about this property that made it sell for, that's sold for how much? It sold for $570,000 just in October. I'm going to see if there's any pictures. There's no pictures. This is probably new construction. So what does this tell me? It's probably a new construction, meaning people are probably buying properties in this area. So Rental Vest LLC. This is a cash buyer. Okay, if I have a property under contract in this area, right, I would absolutely chase Rental Vest down wherever this is. in Milwaukee with a property with a mailing address in Milwaukee, I would chase them down. Okay, I can literally start by googling their name. Rental Vest, Wisconsin Avenue. They have an 800 number. I will chase them down and make sure I'm able to sell to them. Okay, they'll tell you what they can pay for a property. Okay, they have a website. Okay, all right. That's buyers that will be buying your contract from you. You are able to secure contract, and you're able to pass that the right to purchase that property, the right to that contract. You're able to pass it to people that are able to execute on it. Now, some people say, "How do I find cash back?" Well, this is a property. This is government records. These people they're proven that they're able to buy properties. Okay, and they're also turnkey renters, meaning they're probably able to pay more because they're not looking to make a killer on the property right now. They will retain it, get it rented out, and then potentially make money from it later on in the future. The fact that I don't see any pictures for this property on here. Sorry, how do I find this? Where is it? Where is it? 1 second. All right. Just give me 1 second right there. Okay, I found it. All right. So the fact that I am not able to see actual property, this is just like a Google type of a picture, overhead picture, right? It tells me that, but I can scroll down and look. I see it's a Cape Cod. It's 5 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. So when I look at my subject property, it looks like a house that you can actually add to on either sides above it. Okay, above it on either side, you can add a level to this property. This is the perfect property for a lot of investors, and it's vacant. All right. So again, I'm not going to special treat this property. It's already in my list. So let's click close. Let me see. How do I get? Okay. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to my filter. Let's go back to what we're doing, right? I'm going to take this 2 criteria out. Any. I'm going to make them any. I want all 81 properties. Okay. I want all 81 properties. Now, is there a way that I could add on to this and maybe make it at least 100 pieces of property? Maybe. Let's look at this criteria that says individual. Let's take it out. Let's see how many. Oh, I got 10 more properties, but a lot of these properties are owned by LLCs, but they're on a foreclosure list. I would absolutely want those 10 properties because, again, I have room to expand my criteria out and go after 100, right? Minimum 100. Go after 100 per week. Minimum. Okay? What do I mean by going after them? No, you're not driving around for dollars. Okay? That's the contact stage. And that's what we're about to talk about in a second. Okay? Okay. Let's see. All right. So I would absolutely add. Now let's see if I can get this up to 100 by removing maybe one additional filter. So I'm removing filter based off of, what I prefer. You can see that a lot. I can probably get more on this list by saying up to properties up to. I would never go below 100,000 personally as far as estimated value, but I can go up to 700,000 in the estimated value. So if I click on that, I can go here and change this to 700. 700, right? And let's see if we got 2 more on the list. Okay, so let me go ahead and change that to 1 million. One. All right, 1 million. Okay, so there's no additional properties that came into it based off of that criteria. Let's see. Not on the market. Definitely, this is non-negotiable. Let me see if I remove the homeowners association part. I can always put it back. Oh, now we're over 100. So there's some properties here that are on it that are probably condos and stuff like that. Sometimes it could just be gated community too. But since I'm not much over 100, 27, right? 27 that is. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this to my list, right? Yeah, search for that list, the same list. What was Milwaukee, right? Same list. Is it here? Should be M, right? M, Milwaukee right here. I'm just going to save. All right. So now that I have 127 pieces of property to go after, I'm gonna go under my properties, and we're just gonna scroll down to the marketing list, Milwaukee. All right. So what stage are we on right now? What stage? This is how simple this business is. Okay. This is how simple. We're officially on stage 2 right now. Okay. All of stage 1 in real life will take you less than 5 minutes, because I was teaching, I was showing you little areas around data and stuff like that. It's taking a little longer, right? So, all right. So we have 127 properties here, right? Another beautiful thing that we know is that they are actually high equity. High equity means they have at least 50% equity in it. That means the property is worth at least twice the total amount of money owed on it for a mortgage or any kind of lien that's recorded, right? All right, so you can see there are filters that are saved at the top over here as well, right? As a matter of fact, there's 38 of these properties that are free and clear, meaning no money is owed against them. And now, remember, I told you I took out the individual criteria as far as ownership is concerned. Look at this. This is owned by 18 Models Incorporated. But I'm not bothered about that because I also know that it's a residential property. Okay, there are a lot of time people like corporates will own property, and they owned it by mistake. Something happened and they don't mind. As a matter of fact, they are less emotionally attached. They don't mind selling at a deep discount. But you can see majority of them are individuals, right? There's a SJA consultation here, Tariq Investment here, all those people, right? So I can select all, right? I can select all. If I want, I can deselect a few of them too, and then I can go ahead and hit new campaign, right? Okay, go ahead and hit new campaign. Let me just make sure my credit card is not going to be showing or anything like that. All right, so okay. All right, so here's what happens when I hit new campaign. When I hit new campaign, it's asking me if I want to postcard campaign or if I want to skip trace. Let me explain what those two means. Postcard campaign is exactly what it means. You are able to send cards like this. So the mailing address on record for this property. These cards will say something like, we buy houses. I'm interested in a property at 3841 South 73rd Street in Milwaukee. Please reach out to me at my phone number, 732 555 1212. Right? That you're able to say that, and they can potentially call you. You can say, hey, feel free to text me. If you're getting started, use text messages, use a text or call me at this number. Keep it simple. Don't go try to scale up with Podio and stuff like that. Don't stop it. Okay? Keep it super simple. Put your you could do a designated phone number, Google Voice, that's fine. But make sure you're able to receive text messages, and encourage them to text you. Like, hey, you called me about. People use text messages nowadays, so you can't really shy away from that, right? All right, so that's that right there. That's postcard campaign. The postcards will go out to all those properties. The beautiful thing about that is that this is 127 agents that will be out there working for you. We're not on stage 2. This 127 agents will be out there working hard for you. Okay? Working hard to bring money to your pocket. I think you close the deal from this in the next week or two, it doesn't matter, because next week you're going to pull another 91 properties, and then you're going to send it again, and then that will be 91 plus 127 pieces of postcards out there working hard for you. Some people say, "Oh yeah, this doesn't work anymore." Like oh, it does. It's a numbers game, and it's about managing your resources and consistency. Just showing up every week and doing the same thing over and over again until you close your first deal. Once you close your first deal, I need sound effect for a bell. Then you're able to scale a little bit up, but you have money stashed away. You have your marketing dollars for the next 1 year paid for. Now you don't have to come out of pocket to pay for this. So I'm gonna say postcards, right? As you can see here, how much does it cost? It costs 48 cents for the small one. It costs 76 cents. Use the small one. Keep it simple. Yeah, let me tell you something. This and a little bigger and a bigger doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make much difference, okay? It just doesn't. To me as a person. Some people may argue. I haven't done scientific lab tests to see if it makes a difference in conversion. But for me, I look at them the same way when they come into my mailbox. If it resonates with what I am looking to achieve, let's say I do have a piece of property around the corner I need to get rid of course I'm going to look at it and potentially call them and say, hey, yeah, I do have a piece of crap property. You want to come take a look? Yes. I just need to get rid of it. You just need one. You just need one deal. How do you do that? By getting this 127 pieces of mail out there. Next week get 91 out. Next week get 97 out. Next week get 100. Just get 100 out there. 100 average per week. Okay? And what does it cost you? The smallest one is 48 cents. Right? It's costing you. This is postcard printing. 48 cents right there. Right? So I'm going to click next. But all right, great. So here we go. Once you click next, you're going to see all different designs of postcards. Keep it simple. Anything that has yellow and black is all I'm going for. Like this one right here. This is perfect. Notice this one right here. Select that right there. Investor cash offer. That's what you're doing. You're keeping it simple. This is another good one. Right? This one says taller than final notice. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Right? Don't overthink it. Right? So I'm going to click select on that one. All right. Once I click select, now you could go through this process, right? The only thing you want to make sure is that the right phone number is on it, right? You want to make sure you go through this process. There are tutorials on how to do this. I'm not going to go through that right now. Okay. I'm just going to click close here for a second. And let's go back to see, I'm already on the campaign. It's already put me under the campaign tab. The campaign tab is essentially initiating contact. That's stage 2 right there. So you could do it one of two ways. Keep it simple. If you haven't closed your first deal, keep it super simple. The other thing, if I go back to a marketing list, my properties here, and I go back to my marketing list for Milwaukee. All right, so if I click new campaign, select all, right? I can decide to I can sort by first name here, right? And sort it again. Let's see. Let's try that one more time. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. Anything that doesn't have first name are basically companies, right? So I can be strict. If you're a square of a person, you probably want just 100 because you want to keep track of everything that's going on, right? So you may want to take out about 27 of those people, right? So I can just go here. I can go here and take some of this out. Is it telling me how many? Yeah, you can see here at the very top right here, right next to right here, how many is selected. You can take out 24 if you want. 24 of the corporate owned properties, right? Got this one, narrowing down. All right, so you could do that if you want. If I were you, I wouldn't overthink it. Let's do a quick math. How much is 27 additional properties going to cost you to put out there, right? Let's do that math really quickly. 27 multiplied by 0.48 cents. It's going to cost you additional $13. Okay, so the amount of I'm looking at how much the things I'm spending my time on at the very macro level. The time I'm looking to deselect this and be sorting, over analyzing, that's not worth $13 for me. That's $13 that's been spent to actually go out there and work for me. Those are some of the things you want to pay attention to as a business owner. What kind of activities have you been spending your time on that's actually not benefiting you? Me spending time on deselecting all of this and being in a square, and then because of $13, that's actually an investment. It's not worth it. Okay, it's not worth it. That's precisely the point I am making here. All right. All right. So let's go back here. So we're still talking about. So once those people call you, if they call your phone number, well, I was going to show you the other side of it, right? Before we get into stage three, if anybody calls you, that's a lead. You're now in stage three. Stage three is an output of your activities on stage one and stage two. Everything after now is outputs. Okay, and if you haven't figured out how to consistently get at least three leads calling you in any given week, meaning somebody called you or somebody responded yes positively to your offer, right? Or your offer of would you entertain an offer? Just to say yes. If you're not generating three leads per week, we shouldn't be talking about 4 and 5, because we could get to that later easily. Easily, right? That's extremely easy. Okay, but again, those are the stages right there. Let's go back to stage two, I guess. Yeah, stage two. All right, let's see here. Let me close this out. Let's go back to our search page. All right. So we're back here. Let me take out this banner really quickly. We're back here now. All right. So we sending out this. Okay, if you go back to property, this is how you initiate contact. You go under properties, and you go to the list you saved. Because you saved it, right? Um, if I click on it, right? If I select all instead of deselecting, like I said, don't do that. Just make it estimates. 93, 127, patata, something around 100. Be consistent every week. That's all that matters, right? When you click new campaign, you click skip tracing, right? It's gonna what skip tracing is let's read this together. This skip tracing feature is the same service used by law firms, private investigators, and other related agents to locate people nationwide, and now it's available to you. Remember, you're sending this to them. We're not going to stop there. We're actually going to try to reach out to them by text messages and a phone call. Okay, you should have luxury of time to make a few phone calls, okay, in any given week. If you don't, that's fine. You still have postcards working for you, okay. You get it out there. Well, if you have my job is to get you to close your next deal, your first or your next deal. Okay. If you don't have flow of deals coming in, that's my job here. Okay. So the first thing is you got to keep it simple. Okay. Consistency. Keep it simple. Super simple. Super simple. Stupid. Consistency. Manage your resources. 10 cents per record is going to go pull phone number and email addresses, so you can actually send emails as well. Okay. All right. And there's some other additional automated stuff you can do. If you sign up for the free trial of the software, let me know. I'll get you into some more training on that. Okay, literally training that people pay $15,000 for. Okay, use this feature to help find landlines. Okay, we know that most people don't pick up landlines, so we're not worried about that. But mobile telephone numbers, yes, we do want that. Email addresses, yes, right. A lot of these emails, about 50% of them will be bad old emails that will bounce back, but that's okay. Again, it's only 100. You can literally use Gmail, right? But there are also automated ways to work this out, okay, in a way that takes less of your time and apply the utmost maximized leverage to the process. Once you've appended your list, you can then use the marketing features in this application to send emails. So you can actually send emails using the platform itself. So you don't have to use Gmail alone. Obviously, you want to use everything at your disposal to send an offer to purchase the property to this 127 people. All right. or property owners, right? So emails, leave voicemail messages on your prospect. Okay, so they actually have, I think they have voicemails features too that you can send voicemail directly to the phone numbers. They have all of that here. Okay, your prospect, all of that. See, it's a simple business. Okay, but it becomes difficult if you're trying to skip stages. You're trying to master stage two before stage one. Let's start with stage one. It's just simply access to the software. I've covered enough here today in terms of learning how to pull the data, but also learning how to analyze the data, right? And then stage two, right? Stage two, contact. I just showed you that. Skip tracing, which is finding all of the contact information of these people, as you see there, 10 cents. Because how much 10 cents for 127 people? Oh. So I'm guessing that's another 13 bucks. You pull all of these records and you just get to work. And you just reach out. A phone call. That's it. Keep it simple, right? All right. So let's see here. Yeah. So 10 cents. That's it right there. Contact. So stage stage three is now leads are coming in. Phone calls. People are leaving messages for you. They say, yes, I would like to talk to you about a property at blah blah blah, and you say, hey, how do I remember which property? You don't have to remember. You ask them. You confirm every time they call you. You say, yeah, I reach out to a few people. What's your property address? If they're not willing to answer that, they're not motivated. There are people you shouldn't work with anyway. It's a good, easy way for you to filter out non-motivated sellers. So make sure you're not worried too much about a bunch of nonsense. Okay. Contract. You draw up a contract. You draw up a contract. You know, if you need access to contract, just let me see. I think there's a way. If you don't have a contract, yeah, you could text contract to me at 732-517-7532. We'll get you one for free. How's that? Okay. So that's that right there. And then deals. You can work with us. That's number one. I would prefer that. We make money together. Um, for obvious reasons, I'll prefer that. I make money together with you, right? Well, you can also do your deals by yourself. You can find buyers, cash buyers, on the same damn software. I showed you one cash buyer earlier, Rental Vest in Milwaukee. Very, very simple. But let me show you. Let's round this up really quickly by showing you what's even possible, right? If I go back to the search here and we go here, there are two ways to find cash buyers. There's this one here, which is cash buyers. There's 22,000 cash buyers on record in that area, but not all of them purchased in recent times. So you could scroll down here. You can see the cash buyers already pre-populated, and you can go under ownership info and you can roll this out. The date, last sales date, you can roll that out by only 1 year. So you could say 21 last year only, and then narrows down to 2,500 cash transactions, not buyers, cash transactions, right? But again, if this is the market where you play, you can select all of those people, add them to a marketing list, and skip trace all of the data, right? So another thing I like to do is most of the cash buyers that are sophisticated to buy these deals from you, they're not going to be individuals. Individual cash buyers are just people looking to buy to live in it, right? Potentially, for the most part, generally speaking, there are exceptions to every rule. If I go under ownership info, I can go here and I say I need only corporate. Okay, that's it, and it narrows it down even further to 1,800. Okay, so those are property. If I click into this one property, I go under cash sale. You can see that I don't want this buyer. Okay, that's a mortgage, National Mortgage Association company. That's government essentially. So anything with buyer relationship type government, I don't want that. Okay. So again, that's something you probably want to look out for, right? Let's look at this one right here under cash sale. This is probably what more of what you're looking for. SFR3. Okay, they paid $67,000 for the property. Uh, okay, so I would find the information of all those people. You can search on Google, and there are also other websites that you can search for corporate where you can pull the information of the owners of these properties, right? If I search on Google directly, this right here, I can see that they actually do have a website. Boom. But another good website that you probably parade a lot is opencorporates.com right here, where to actually show you of the officers on the comp that owns the company, right? Good standing. Let's see. There are similar name companies, so they probably created LLCs in different states. Same people. They have head office in New York, right? The directors are Jonathan Kibera, right? Right there. That's the person you're looking for. All right. A little bit of research goes into it, but you're about to make $20,000, $30,000. Use simple Google to find this information, right? All right. So the other one I want to show you in terms of finding cash buyers is here is saying that's 47 flipper agents. What is flipper agents? Meaning agents that represent cash buyers, people that actually flip the property. Meaning there are two transactions within a short period of time. This I would go after first. Okay. So let's look at this first one, and cash sale. Let's see. So under cash sale, you can see. Now just go on the MLS detail, right? That's the MLS detail. Let's see here. Okay, we have it right here. We see the brokerage information. We're looking for M Burns, right? M Burns has Dion. That looks like a lady's name, right? Dion has phone numbers directly right here. Send a text message to Dion. Right? Say, hey, I got a property under contract. I'm not sure I'll be able to execute, but it's a really good deal. I think I see that you represented the person that purchased North 38th Street, Milwaukee. They purchased the property on blah 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 date. The date is here somewhere, right here, in April 2021. Would you be able to show this property to your client? I'm paying full commission. Sounds like music, right? That's it. All right. So that you'll find under Flipper Agents, which you may not have saved here already, but you can easily go into Filter and go under Flippers. Boom. You have access to data. This business becomes super simple, super easier for you. All right. It becomes super easier, super simple for you. Okay. So now, with that being said, I just wanted to a couple of things really quickly. Let me just go take a look. In terms of the, I think I should push that to the next session. I'll push it to the next session because I feel like I covered a lot here today. In terms, I was gonna cover some of the responses. There was a debate between Zach of Flick with Rick, who is a content producer in this arena for wholesale real estate, and another gentleman, I forgot his name, Flip Mastery, something like that, Flipping Masteries. So they did a debate about if they should form an association for wholesalers or whatnot. I'm quite indifferent on their take. I felt like the debate was quite interesting. But I wanted to do maybe some kind of reaction or something to it, and also react to some of the comments, and what most people are probably worried about is probably not an issue, especially if you haven't closed your first deal or your next deal in a long time. These are things you shouldn't worry about, okay? But I'll still do it. The market was in the red today. I think it was it's probably still because of the interest rates. That's what it looks like. So I'm not going to cover too much details with regards to that. What I'll do is maybe on the next session, we're going to, let's see, let me share. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so maybe on the next session, what we're going to do is probably come back and yeah, yeah. On the next session, what we're going to do is we'll come back and cover some of those details, right? With regards to if this is ever going to be illegal. I already said in the beginning it will never be illegal. That's the answer. But in terms of what you should expect in terms of the regulation and stuff like that, I think you should be prepared. I think there's some important information I want to share with you from the standpoint of someone that has been in the game. Someone that has been in the game for a while. I have some insights